Everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a bit of an August into September look ahead today using some of the longer range models like the JMA model and Beijing Climate Center model. Just see what they're showing for the rest of August and on in towards September as well. And then right at the very end of the video, we're going to have a quick look at the CFS model for January, because that's been showing out. It's been throwing out some very interesting charts over the last few weeks, as I'm sure you're aware. And we're going to have a quick look at that. It's still at it this morning. We're going to have a quick look at that in a few moments. Now, before I get on with the video, just to talk about the advertising. There's green keyword ads on my pages at gazwebbiz.com. If you roll your cursor over the green keywords, they will display ads, but if you click through the word, you go to the advertiser website, and by doing that, you'll be supporting gazwebbiz.com. Thanks very much for doing that. So we're going to start off with the JMA model first of all. This is the long-range model from Japan. This is broken down into weekly periods. So this first weekly period is taking us from around the 8th, 9th of August through to around the 15th or the 16th of August. We see that we're running a jet stream through in the coming week across the country. That thick black line there is the jet stream coming through. Got high pressure sitting to the southwest, associated with the Azores high, above average heights actually. This is 500 millibar heights, but it extrapolates to pressure. The yellow colours are where we've got an area of high pressure, and the blue colours where we've got low pressure. We see we've got blue colours there around and to the north of the British Isles. That's quite unsettled. Always more of an anticyclonic influence down to the south and southwest of the country, so the southern parts often mainly dry probably, but certainly for the north that is quite unsettled. And with the jet stream running through across the country, it certainly won't be particularly warm either. Now, as we run through to the second weekly period, we're actually finding the high pressure, the above average heights, weakening down to the south and southwest of the country. That's where the high pressure is, and it's a much weaker area of above average heights. Again, we're running the jet stream through across the country like that, and the low pressure as a trough, an anomalous trough, is sitting around and to the north of the country once again. So if anything, that's a more unsettled scenario going through to the second week, which, as I say, is taking us from around the 16th to say the 24th of August. That's really quite an unsettled looking chart for that weekly period. We could be seeing outbreaks of rain across many parts of the country if that is right. Again, always more unsettled to the north, but even in the south it's more unsettled because we've lost that area of above average heights down to the south and the southwest. As we move through to the final 2 weekly period, which is taking us almost up to around the 5th of September, actually. It's taking us through the last few days of August into the first few days of September. Well, notice we're losing a trough then, interestingly. The blue colours are going. We haven't particularly got a ridge either. We're sort of in these pale colours, which is near normal conditions, really. And as I say, we've lost the blue colours to the north. We've lost the yellow colours to the south. I think as the model goes out, it does tend to kind of lose the signal in a way, and the fact that it's bringing the colours up from blue towards the beiges is a good sign really, because it could be indicating that at the extended range it's beginning to pick up on a rise in pressure. Now, it's too far out, I think, for the model to develop that into an area of high pressure, but it's just a heads up, I think, as we get to the end of August into the start of September. Start of September is very often a period when we get a lot of high pressure. It's just a heads up, I think, that the model may be seeing the trough breaking up, and it may be seeing pressure rising then at the start of September. So that's probably quite a good sign for some settled weather as we go out to the start of September. The 500 millibar height anomalies from the Beijing Climate Center, very similar really. We're seeing the high pressure, the above average heights I should say, which is, as I say, extrapolating to high pressure, sitting down to the south and the southwest of the country. It's ridging in to the south, something like that. But really the blue colours, the below average heights, below pressure, are dominating. The jet stream is coming through something like that across the Atlantic, and again that is quite an unsettled period, and this again is taking us from around the 15th, or taking us up to around the 15th of August actually for the week that we're currently in. So that's a pretty good representation of the situation for this coming week, I think. Let's go out to the next week, which takes us from the 16th to the 25th of August, and again we're looking at the below average heights sitting around the British Isles. Notice, just as with the JMA model, we lose the above average heights down to the southwest, so both models are seeing the high pressure weakening down to the south and the southwest in the week from the 15th to 24th of the month, with low pressure really quite in control through that weekly period. But then as we go on into the third weekly period, which takes us from the 26th to the 4th of September, again it's the same sort of idea that the colours are coming up. We still have some below average heights left there across the British Isles, so there's some sort of low pressure around, but everything's looking much paler there with the colours, and that's partly because it's further out, so the model is losing the signal somewhat, but I think it's also representing the fact that as we get through to the very end of August and into the start of September, we could be starting to see some high pressure rises beginning to take place then, particularly perhaps to the east and maybe in the Atlantic as well, with this trough of low pressure probably starting to weaken somewhat as we move out to the final weekly period of this Beijing Climate Center model, which takes us well in September. It takes us from the 5th to the 14th of September. Again, we're sort of placing the trough, and it's a weak trough to the west of the country then, and the colours are coming up to the east of the country, so there could be some sort of area of high pressure sitting there to the east as we go through in towards the probably into the middle of September actually. Certainly signs there, I think, from the Beijing Climate Center of things settling down as we go into September. These are the city forecasts from the website weatherweb.net. This is for Birmingham. This is based on the long-range CFS model. It's running from around the 8th of August to around the 21st or the 22nd of September. Quite interesting this. This is for Birmingham. We see that for the coming weekly period, which is from around there to there, we're going to be going a little bit below average. It's going to be going a bit cooler, but then as we get through from around the 21st to say the 27th or 28th of August, the temperatures are lifting up somewhat, then they're dropping down as we go to the very end of the month. Then for the start of September, which is just here, they do spike up very briefly before going back down again, and then they go quite cool through the first week of September. Into the second week of September they rise up a little bit, and then they go back down as we go through to the middle of September, becoming really quite cool actually there through the middle of September, before again perhaps rising up around the 21st. But the overall trend there, I think you can see that the overall trend from the model is really downwards very gradually. We do see the temperature sliding away, and of course that is pretty much what you expect from August into September. It's very much a cooling month, September. So whilst it could start off quite warm, we do tend to see those temperatures cooling off. But it does look as though it could be quite cool for substantial periods of September through the first week, and then on into the second week we could see some really quite cool weather indeed. It's just around that period from say around the 8th to the 12th of September we might get a bit of a warm up, but really quite cool temperatures being signalled by the CFS model for September. These are the 500 the sea surface pressure anomalies, I should say, for the CFS model from the website Meteosierra. And I should just explain that all of these websites, the links to them can be found on my links page, so you can see all of these charts for yourself. This is the very latest update from the CFS model at Meteosierra. So this is sea level pressure anomalies for September, and the very latest that the model is seeing quite a lot of blocking going on up to the north of the country, and it's seeing a trough of low pressure in the Atlantic. So yeah, we've got high pressure as an anomalous area of high pressure sitting to the north around Iceland and stretching out in towards Greenland through September, and then we've got the low pressure out in the Atlantic, and we're probably bringing down quite cool air from the north and from the northeast on quite regular intervals. So if that's right, you would expect quite a cool month, and that's what the temperature anomalies for the month are showing. Near normal for the north, but certainly for the south, I think we are looking at a slightly cooler than average September based on that pressure anomaly. Perhaps more interestingly than the temperature though is precipitation, because if it's right, we're looking at a really wet month for England and Wales. It's going for well above average rainfall there through September. Really quite a wet month indeed being signalled. Drier up to the north, of course you'd expect that because we've got the blocking area of high pressure. Basically we've got a southerly tracking jet stream coming through the Atlantic, running across England, Wales, maybe into the south of the country at times. So that's really quite a cool, wet, sort of unsettled signal for September from the CFS model. I don't think the other models are as bad as that. Certainly the Beijing Climate Center isn't as bad as the CFS model. And probably the JMA model, we don't go that far out into September with the JMA model, but I think for the first few days of September, the JMA model is probably seeing a little bit of high pressure influences for the start of September. And of course you expect that anyway through the first few days of September. It can rapidly deteriorate once you get those first 5 to 7 days of the month out of the way. Now I did say that we'd have a look at January's sea level pressure anomaly from a CFS model before I go, so let's just have a very quick look at that, and there it is once again. It's going for substantial blocking across much of the north of the country. Look at all that high pressure as an anomaly sitting to the north of the British Isles through January on this morning's CFS update. Major blocking area of high pressure sitting to the north. The low pressure is all forced down to the south of the country. The jet stream is running well to the south, something like that, going through the Mediterranean. And the blocking for the north, again, it's off the scale. There is the scale down there. It only goes up to those red colours. Once you go beyond the red colours into towards those oranges, you're talking about blocking going off the scale again for January. And the CFS model just keeps going and going and going for this time after time. What it's picking up on, I don't know. But it keeps showing it. It keeps showing this really cold scenario for January. And here's the temperature anomalies for January. Finally, we're looking at temperature anomalies 4 to 6 degrees below average, up to 10 degrees below average for much of Scandinavia. That is an extraordinarily cold month again being predicted by the CFS model for January. Now, once the CFS model keeps showing this over and over and over again, obviously you've got to take it seriously, but is it just losing the plot as it's going further out, or is it really picking up on something? We're not going to know until we get to January, basically, and of course in between now and January we'll keep monitoring and see whether the model keeps running with this, whether it drops the idea eventually. But it's just very, very strange that the GFS model should keep going. The CFS model, I should say. It's just very strange that it should keep going to these severe, we're not talking about moderately cold, we're talking about severe cold scenarios being shown time and time and time again by this long-range model for the month of January. It's very strange. But anyway, we'll be doing the week ahead forecast. Well, I hope you found the video interesting. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.